Hello, and once again, welcome to the 94th boxing prediction video. Well, there are a couple really big fights this weekend. Well, one of them is really big, and one of them is kind of big, but not that. Whatever. And first, let's take the smaller ones. I was actually wondering to starting first with the bigger fights, because then maybe more people would want to watch, because when I start with the less interesting fights, I guess many people just don't bother to watch that long. Well, first one, Danny Garcia versus Adrian Granados. Yes, this is a sort of a comeback for Garcia, really. And it is really, because he lost his last fight to Sean Porter in September. And yeah, so here he's fighting against the guy that he's supposed to beat. Like for sure. Even though, Granados is a tough customer, and he surprised us a few times by giving some really good fighters harder fights than we expected, like Adrian Broner, for instance. He's also fought Sean Porter, and he did rather well, and he also surprised first by stopping Amir Imam. Well, Danny Garcia, he's at the crossroads, definitely, in his career, and he's now 31, no longer really, that young for a prize fighter. So now he really has to, do something and do it well before he loses his prime. So, but his problem was always that in fights, he was always kind of a bit too, passive. He didn't always work that hard, and he relied on his power to, put him through. And he always tried to land a big left hook. That's his specialty, of course. And when that didn't work, he found himself struggling sometimes, like, for instance, against Mauricio Herrera. And the fight that many believed that he should have lost, really. So, yes. So, of course, Garcia is almost certain to win this fight, unless something unexpected should happen, like, for instance, him getting caught with a big punch and stop. Yeah, but I don't think that Granados is a really heavy-handed guy, because his record suggests that he does have some power, but he's hardly a knockout artist, so, So, I favor, of course, I think Garcia will cruise to a unanimous decision, yeah. I would be surprised. It's possible, but I don't think that he can stop Granados, but he hasn't been stopped, in 28 fights, so if he does stop him, then it will be very, of course, impressive. And yeah, so that was enough about that fight. Then moving on to we have Brandon. Who is this? No, sorry. Well, there's one fight at bantamweight that is a little bit interesting, and it's Ricardo Espinosa Franco who's fighting John Riel Casimero for a vacant WBO international title. Casimero, he's a really good fighter, but he kind of lost. It was a big surprise when he lost to Jonas Sultan in 2017. Before that, he beat Amnat Ruan, the first guy to beat him, and by knockout, even in 4 rounds. And then he knocked out also Charlie Edwards, who is very solid. So he's a guy that is sometimes known, to not deliver, but usually he's a really, good fighter who can punch and I guess box as well. Well, I don't really know anything about this guy Franco, because apart from what stands here on box track, it's he holds the WBO, or held the Latino version. He beat Ricardo Nunes, most famous of his. He's a puncher. Definitely 20 KOs of 23 victories. So this should be a really good one, a good scrap. But since it's in Mexico, I think Casimero might have to win by a knockout to get it, because you know how it is. I mean. It seems that preferential judging has almost taken over everywhere now. It's really a bad thing. I mean, I'm really, appalled, or whatever the word is. I mean, I'm really incensed that some of the decisions that we have had in the past few years, like, I'm not gonna name any by name, but especially in the United States now, I'd say that is a bigger problem now than anywhere else, I'd say. Because in UK, we have had also some, dodgy decisions and a lot of draws, it seems, and all that, but it's in USA that we have seen the most outrageous scorecards, in the past 5, 6, 7 years. Like, for instance, let's mention one: Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley, for instance. Yeah. So that was the one that everybody but the judges had clearly for Pacquiao, but Bradley won, of course. So anyway, to get back to the fight, Casimero, I think he can win this, unless he is now 30 years, unless he proves to be past his best. I think he should be able to win by a knockout. Because that's the only way I see him win. I mean, most likely. If not, then this guy Franco wins by a kind of hometown decision, maybe. But there is a high chance that a knockout will happen, because both guys are, punchers, as I said. Yes, all right, and I think we best move on to the big fight, the main fight, and which is of course, Terence Crawford versus Amir Khan. Yes, well, Amir Khan. Yeah, I was surprised when I heard about that he had challenged Crawford, but I guess he he needs a better manager, definitely. I mean, he has taken a bit too many fights lately in his career that he never should have taken, like against Canelo, for instance, Alvarez. And yeah, he didn't do himself any service, and I fear he will also here he will get just destroyed, like because even though Crawford himself has been a lightweight, but that was before earlier. He is now grown into a full-fledged welterweight, obviously. And even though he's not perhaps a devastating puncher, but he still can hit and can stop you if he lands enough on you. And I believe he will most likely do that to Khan. But of course, Khan has skills that's not debatable, and has very fast hands. I don't know how much, if his speed has deteriorated, but I just can't see him winning here. I mean, I think most of you also agree, because he just has his chin, for one, has been exposed, as kind of fragile, and especially against these guys that really can hit and are true welterweights and junior welterweights and all that. Against Maidana, for instance, he was able to take quite a lot of punishment, but Maidana never hit him on the right spot, obviously, like Danny Garcia did, for instance, or Canelo. So, guys, I mean, Kelly Pavlik has said nobody really beat Amir Khan by outboxing him. That may be true, but still, for instance, in his fight against Julio Diaz, he was close to being stopped several times, and Julio Diaz, of course, was a good fighter, but he was no like Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford, for sure. So I wouldn't say it's not possible for Crawford to outbox Khan. Of course it is. I mean, because Crawford is one of the best technical boxers today. I'd say he's able to switch his stances, from orthodox to southpaw, and he just has too much up his sleeve. I just say it for Khan, because yeah. I think Khan is just a spent force by now. I mean, he should have now taken the fight against Kell Brook, and that's it. Just retire, whatever happens. Even if he should knock out Brook, I mean, he should just fucking retire, because what can he hope to achieve now? I mean, come on, he's like 33 or something. And he's been knocked out more than once, and he's suffered a few brutal knockouts, and he's fighting in a division that is very strong now, of course, with Spence, also Errol Spence and Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, and against neither of these guys he a favorite, of course, to win. So My prediction is simply that Terence Crawford wins this by um, just wearing Khan down like he usually does to other opponents, of course. So I think he will manage to stop him by the 10th round or something. I will be surprised if it goes the distance, frankly. And I know Khan is sounds very determined, but he is always determined. So yes, so that's my prediction. I think Terence Crawford most likely wins by a late TKO, like 10th round or something. Yeah, well, I spent quite a lot of time now. I think I better finish this video. See you until next time. Bye bye.